Welcome to American Latino Presents In the Fight. I am here at SiriusXM with half of Covino and Rich. Steve Covino, one of the leading Latinos in sports media. What's up?
Thanks for having me back.
Now, Steve, first of all, catch us up. You know, we've covered you on your show.
Yeah.
Covino and Rich on SiriusXM.
Yeah.
Tell us about the show. Where are you guys at?
One of the fastest growing shows at SiriusXM, according to me. According to me and my friends and family. Just a pleasure, man. We do it every day. It's the most interactive show on SiriusXM. If it's happening in life, in my life, my crazy life, or in the news, it's happening on the show. And we take phone calls, and we like to get out and meet the people. But it's a live talk show. We do it every day, every weekday morning. Here from California. We're from New York,
right?
So we moved the show from New York to California. And it's the dream job because you get to meet a lot of your heroes, you know? Get to hang out with you, Humberto.
Right. Hey.
I get to go to the fights, I
Right.
get to meet the boxers, I get to meet the celebrities. So it's not a sports show,
Right.
but we talk a lot of sports because guys like sports. People like sports.
Right.
But if, like I said, if it's a cool movie, we have them on. If it's a cool TV show that we're all about, we have celebrity guests on all the time.
I know you keep close to it. I mean, you're doing your analysis and stuff like that. Do you like the Keith Thurmans, the Danny Garcias?
I love Keith Thurman. I love the way Keith and the way he thinks, the way he just...
Tell me about your appreciation of the fight game. Are you into boxing, UFC? Who are some of your heroes?
I'll watch any fight.
Right.
If there's a fight happening outside,
Yeah.
I'm the first guy there.
Right.
I got the bullhorn out.
Right.
I'm ready to scream world star. Like, I love a good fight.
Right.
But I watch bug fights, bum fights, any fight I like. Unless, of course I'm involved. I don't want to be fighting anybody. But I grew up watching boxing. Grew up watching boxing, loving boxing. All my uncles and all my family and friends, we loved boxing. So I'm a little old school like that when it comes to fights. But I love all fights, mixed martial arts, UFC, you name it. But boxing's my true love. That's what introduced me to fighting. And we grew up in that era of Mike Tyson and Julio Cesar Chavez and the pay-per-views and family getting together and ordering pizza and chipping in to watch a great fight. And that's sort of how I grew up loving boxing.
Why do you think Latinos have done so well in the fight game? It seems like, baseball, in this country, of course there's soccer, which is very big in Latin America, but in this country, baseball seems to be one sport where Latinos have definitely thrived, but the fight game, boxing and MMA is definitely a sport. Why do you think that is?
Three things. A lot of the culture and the machismo, right? You're trying to be the toughest guy out there. I think you're fighting to survive. A lot of people just fighting to survive. They need to eat, and that's their only way out. And I think, honestly, Look at this fat Mexican head I got. Look at this cabeza. This could take a punch. Believe it or not, it could take a punch. So I think you add those three things together, the hunger and the desire that's there, I think you get a great, hungry fighter out of it.
Who are some of your favorite Latino fighters right now?
It's funny.
Yeah.
My answer, you're not going to like, but there's one guy who does it Mexican style. And it's Triple G.
Oh,
Even though he's not Latino, he's my favorite Latino fighter right now. I'm a Triple G guy. I know there's a lot of Canelo fans that are probably going to hate that. I love Canelo any other fight, any other time. Yeah. But I love Triple G.
Well, he has a Mexican trainer.
Of course.
Yeah, he goes up to Big Burn. He trains, with mostly Mexican fighters.
I know. That's why I love him. I love his style, the Mexican style.
What are some of the funniest things that have happened on the show? I mean, because you say you have actors, you have people from TV shows, musicians, and you also have athletes. How do those worlds collide on your show?
Well, our show is very silly, so we talk a lot about style. We were talking about our chonis recently, and I asked Oscar De La Hoya, I said, what kind are you rocking nowadays, right? He said, Oscar de la Nadas. He said, Oscar, he doesn't wear any. So, we ask dumb questions, because guys are talking about stupid things a lot. Right. So we bring that into the everyday. We try to normalize or humanize even the biggest stars like an Oscar De La Hoya. So,
any of the people that we're going to be talking about today sticks out to you? Any of the boxers that I sent you?
All of them.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz to me. Leo Santa Cruz.
Leo Santa Cruz, who fought Abner Mares. We're going to be talking about it a little bit. Yeah, that was one of the biggest fights that we had.
Actually, I saw you there, man. Yeah.
Right.
It was a great time, a great fight, and he got the rematch coming up. Again, I see it as a slick guy versus a tough guy.
Right.
So, it's a great matchup. But, the
Mares, slick guy being Leo Santa Cruz, or Leo being the tough guy?
I think Leo being the strong power puncher who's coming straight at you. And Abner Mares, who's got power, but he's more of a slick fighter who's forced to be a tougher guy fighting Santa Cruz. Just seeing two guys I admire that much, your heart's on the line. It's like watching Canelo Triple G. I like them so much, both of them so much. it's kind of hard to figure out who you're rooting for.
Totally. All right, we're actually going to be talking about Abner Mares after the break, and later, the most dangerous woman in the UFC. It's all happening right here on American Latino Presents In the Fight. Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight. I'm here with Steve Covino at SiriusXM talking fight game. All right, so we talked about Abner Mares and Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of Leo Santa Cruz.
I'm a big fan of both of them.
So up next, we have a story that we did on Abner.
Yeah.
Now, when I interviewed Abner Mares, his personality doesn't come off as a fighter. I mean, he just seems like this fun guy. You kind of expect him to be at the club dancing with the chicks.
I know.
Not a very big guy. Obviously, he's a small weight, but it's just amazing that a guy like that, you know, has such skill in the fight game when so much about him doesn't seem like he's a fighter. And that's what I get attracted to some of the fighters by the fact that they don't really come off as fighters when you talk to them.
Well, you know what? I've interviewed him too, and I saw him and I thought the same thing. I'm like, this guy's like a fighter. Let's say he's going out to party.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was real chiseled up.
Yeah.
He had the part going on real tight.
He's like a reggaeton star.
Right, yeah, exactly. He looked like he was ready to go out and dance. And, you know, that's all part of the hype. That's all part of the game. You know, he's saying looking that way gives him that confidence, you know, so it gives him that extra swag in the ring. So it's all part of the head game. He's feeling good about himself. He's feeling cool. That translates in the ring sometimes. But I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have you picked up from Abner that you think sticks out?
Same thing, you know, you can only envy it because, wow, this guy's like 5'5", small. It looks like he's going out to party, but when he's in the ring, it's all business, you know, he'll kick your ass. And when pushed to that limit, he could brawl, like we saw in the Santa Cruz fight.
Right.
And no one really thought, well, a lot of people thought he didn't have a chance, and he almost won that fight. And he has a good shot next fight because he's got Robert Garcia in his corner too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Great
so
trainer.
yeah, so I think that evens the playing field a little bit here. So I think he has more of a chance this time than he did the first time. I'm excited to see it happen.
Yeah, he's a world champ. He has a great trainer. There's a lot of great Latino trainers,
Yeah.
and Abner Mares is one of the great Latino fighters, and you can find out more about him right here coming up. Check it out. It's Abner Mares on American Latino Presents In the Fight. Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight. Now, up next, we have a story on the most dangerous woman in the world. She's Cris Cyborg, now Cristiane Justino. She used to be Cristiane Santos because she was married to Cyborg Santos. She took his nickname. She didn't take his last name.
Right.
I got to interview her, and she's a woman that Ronda Rousey, let's be honest, avoided.
Yeah.
She didn't want to fight her.
Of course, most people
don't want to fight her.
Right.
Literally the most violent woman in the UFC. I'm really happy that they made a division. Really, it's just her in the division. 145 pounds. She's a 145-pound champion, but she really is the greatest female mixed martial artist in my opinion. But as intimidating as she might be, when I interviewed her, she's the nicest person in the world. She's so sweet, and she's just learning English, and she really expresses herself in a very cute way. I hate to say
Really?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, her broad shoulders, I'm like, my God, this, you know, like a lot of times we'll see women in the UFC or women in boxing, and maybe someone who's, you know, a man who's done martial arts or boxing might be like, okay, but you know what, if I got in the ring with her, you know, I'd probably handle myself. No, not with Cris Cyborg.
No.
She can actually, you know, devastate 90% of the men
into pretzels, at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah, so that's why I don't mind the fact that everybody's avoiding her. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact that everybody's avoiding her.
Right.
Nunes Pennington, right? That's the big fight coming up.
Right.
Neither of them want to fight her. That's the truth. So that's why I feel kind of bad for her because she's never really going to get that chance for that belt.
Do you think Ronda Rousey's ever going to come back to fight her?
Never. No, not at all because she's too Hollywood. Why? She doesn't need to. She doesn't need to do it
That
at
would
this
be a
point.
huge payday.
Yeah, I guess. You know, Ted DiBiase, a wrestler, said that everybody has got a price. So
Everybody has a price.
Everybody has a price. So maybe, but she's not going to win. That's just too much of a fight. You got to be crazy.
By the way, you know that Ronda Rousey's half Latina. Her mom's Venezuelan.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, you and I wouldn't fight Cyborg, so I can't imagine anyone else.
I can't
wanting to
imagine
do it.
Ronda fighting Cyborg. But what we will do is we will feature Cyborg coming up right here on American Latino Presents In the Fight. Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight. I'm here with Steve Covino at SiriusXM. Up next, we have what they're calling Golden Boy's new Golden Boy, and it's Ryan Garcia, Ryan King Gri Garcia. He has another nickname. He has like 3 different nicknames, but King Gri is what they call him. I don't even know what that means. I got a chance to see him do a workout a couple weeks ago. Great personality, big personality. I think that they're grooming him to be a star as much as they're grooming him to be a fighter.
Well, he looks like a star. He looks like a pop star.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
He looks like Abner looks like a reggaeton guy. This guy looks like a boy band guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's like the Justin Bieber of the fight world right now. You know, he's all about his Instagram and the social media and building that I guess persona, that personality. He's building his fan base.
But does he have the skills in the ring to back up the star quality aspect of it?
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't been proven yet. You know, a lot riding on him. Again, like you said, he's the face of Golden Boy now. ESPN says prospect of the year. So there's skill level there, but he hasn't been tested. He goes for that quick knockout, which you kind of like. You like the hunger there, right? He sees blood, he attacks, and he ends the fight early. You want to see him push. You want to see his heart. You want to see what he can really bring. Yeah. He hasn't gone there yet.
Right.
But, you know, he's got all the tools.
Well, he has all the tools, and one thing I noticed about him when I was interviewing him up in person, up close, he has broad shoulders, so he'll fill in.
Yeah.
You know, even though he's 19 and he's skinny now, I feel that he's probably going to get heavier and work up in weight, and he has that knockout power, and the one thing that he has that a lot of boxers don't always have, he has that pivot.
Right.
That hook, it's the entire body that goes into that punch.
Yeah.
You know?
One punch power. He has knockout power. And you know what? He's unassuming. You know, he's a good-looking kid. He's a handsome kid. People are going to take him lightly. People are going to talk smack, too, and not take him serious. Because he doesn't look tough.
Right.
He doesn't look tough. So he's going to deal with that anyway. And I think that'll motivate him to prove everybody wrong.
Well, he has Oscar De La Hoya in his corner, who probably went through the same thing.
Exactly.
Mentoring him through this process. So we're going to find out more right here about the prospect of the year, Ryan Garcia. Check it out. Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight. I'm Humberto Guida here with Steve Covino from Covino and Rich at SiriusXM. Now, our next story is Tony Ferguson. I don't know if you've ever met him in person. Have you ever met him in person?
I'm scared of the guy.
He is a scary dude.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He really is missing a screw. But the thing is that his skill is all over the place. He is someone who has a lot of toughness. He's mentally strong to the highest degree. I mean, he's probably the most mentally strong fighter in the UFC. But he also has amazing skills. I mean, he has submission skills. His jiu-jitsu is off the chain. And his boxing is awkward. His kickboxing is awkward. He comes from all different angles.
You said mentally strong. He plays those mental mind games, too. You see, getting ready for the next fight, he's in his pants.
Yes.
He's in his pants.
He's in dress
wearing
pants.
Sunglasses. I know, he's blindfolded, actually.
Well, he did, too. He did one blindfolded and one in like nice dress pants.
So here he is blindfolded doing the speed bag, like, I got this, playing mind games. And then I don't know if you saw the other clip that went viral where he's kicking a steel pipe.
Yes.
Right? He's got his sunglasses on with his shin. He's like, look, he's not bleeding, no marks, kicking it as hard as he could. And I think he dented the steel pipe. He's just, he's a warrior. I'd be scared to fight the guy.
And we're going to see that play out in his next fight, but we're also going to see it play out coming up right here on American Latino Presents Athletes. Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight. I'm here with Steve Covino from Covino and Rich on SiriusXM, and we're talking about Latinos in combat sports. So far in the show, we've been talking about boxers and MMA stars.
Right.
But you know what's another combat sport? Fencing.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And I got the chance to interview. She's the best fencer in Team USA's female fencing team. Her name is Natalie V. She's Argentinian. She's beautiful. But she describes fencing as a martial art, which it is. And she's also very new agey and kind of like a hippie. So she talks about opening up your heart chakra as she tries to basically stab you in the chest with a fencing sword. What do you think about that? Would you date a woman like this?
I'm a little torn because you said she's beautiful.
She is.
But she's also capable of stabbing me in the heart.
Yeah, well, but I mean, but all women are.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, so I'm interested in learning about it.
Now, do you know anything about fencing, or is it one of those sports where you can't tell what's going on? It's the thing with the swords.
Of course, I know what it is, but no. Do I know? No, I know nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. But, you know, I'm definitely interested, you know, and if she could be the face and she's beautiful and skillful, you know, she could take the sport to the next level.
Well, honestly, a lot of people feel that she is going to be. She's actually in the World Championships right now this year, and she is the hottest prospect on Team USA's fencing team for the Olympics in 2020. So here's a little bit more. It's Natalie V here on American Latino Presents Athletes.
American Latino Athletes.
Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight. I am here at SiriusXM with Steve Covino, the fighter himself from Covino and Rich. Up next, we have Aaron Pico. Now, Aaron Pico is a very interesting story because he started training mixed martial arts as a blue chipper at like 10 years old. Mainly wrestling, and then he took up boxing. So he was an Olympic. He almost made the Olympics in wrestling. Right. And he was in high school, I think he won the state championship. Even though he was homeschooled, he competed with a high school. He took up boxing. I believe he was was a Golden Gloves runner-up or a Golden Gloves champion, you know, in his teens. So he was coming from these things, but it was all, you know, he's always trained. He's a virtuoso in both boxing and wrestling, but the goal since he was like 10 or 11 years old and he was getting publicity for this was to become a mixed martial artist. Now, at 18 or 19, he made his pro debut in Bellator. He actually lost his first fight.
He got humbled in his first fight.
Yeah, he got humbled
right?
in his first fight. But his next 2 fights, he won by knockout.
Right.
So what do you think about Aaron Pico? Do you think that the hype train was a little too much? Do you think a little too much pressure was put on him at a young age?
You know, I think that, like we said, it humbled him, but it made him hungrier for the next few fights. Now he's got Freddie Roach in his corner helping him out. You know, he recognized that this kid has natural skill. I doubt Freddie Roach is working with people that just don't have it. You know, he knows, he sees something in this kid that's worth his time.
Right.
And he's teaching him to relax and pick his fights and pick his punches. And I think this is going to help him show that, you know, he's got the skills to be that next guy.
When you bring up Freddie Roach, and, you know, throughout this show, we've been talking about who trains the fighters.
Yeah.
How important, you know, because there's other sports, you know, you're head coach when you're a football player or, you know, baseball player, basketball player, but it seems like in fighting, you have to have a trainer that really knows what they're doing.
And a trainer that you respect. This kid admired or grew up idolizing Canelo Alvarez, right? So he grew up idolizing the fight game. He got in contact with Freddie Roach. He sparred with Miguel Cotto, did he not? So, I mean, you got to learn, you know, from these guys just being around them. So it does definitely mean a lot, absolutely. Right. So if he could mix the wrestling with the punching skills he's learning from Freddie Roach, yeah, he's going to be the real deal.
All right, well, let's find out more about this blue chip prospect, Aaron Pico, coming up right here on American Latino Presents Athletes.
American Latino Athlete.
Welcome back to American Latino Presents In the Fight, and we are ready to wrap it up, man. That does it for today. You were awesome.
Thank you, man.
So out of everyone we talked about today, who do you think has a chance to be the biggest star?
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy, you know. He's got the looks. He's got the golden boy. He's got De La Hoya behind him, you know. And if he could keep his life clean and stay out of trouble and not get caught up in that hype of the women wanting him and chasing him and just the lifestyle, you know. He's a young kid making a lot of money with a lot of options, I'm sure. If he could stay on the right path, behind the cameras, off the cameras, I think he's got a bright future because he's great in front of the camera.
Yeah. Now, speaking culturally, do you think that, you know, one of the things that I often cover on the segments that we do on these shows is the Latino assimilation into American culture and also the American assimilation into having Latinos as part of this society, of this culture. Do you think that having prominent fighters, having such prominent sports stars in the fight game helps, you know, Latinos be better understood in American society?
Absolutely, yeah. You see people getting together of all races and cultures, getting together to watch these fighters and root them on. And, you know, I'm sure little white kids hanging up their posters in their room. Of course that matters a lot, you know. You got different people idolizing Hispanic people. That's an amazing thing.
That is. So tell us on the way out a little bit more about where we can find you. Where can people catch you? Because you're on the After Howard channel. Talk to us about that because that's a huge thing.
Now you can catch me anytime on demand. So there's an on-demand feature online and on the app, right? SiriusXM on demand. But every morning, weekday mornings, 8 a.m. on the West, 11 on the East on Faction Talk 103. One of the best channels on SiriusXM, Faction Talk 103. And I also do a rock show on Turbo 41. So I play rock music on Turbo. But my talk show, Covino and Rich, Faction Talk 103, weekday mornings.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's been awesome talking to you about the fight game.
Thank you.
We'll be talking about some of the big fights later this year as they come up because you're going to be at a bunch of them.
Anytime.
Awesome. All right, that does it for today's special. We want to thank SiriusXM for hosting us. We want to thank all of you guys for supporting Latino fighters. This has been American Latino Presents Athletes.